Honourable Ministers, Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament. May I begin by asking all of the Honourable Members of this Honourable House to join me in expressing our deepest condolences to the people of France and other nations whose family members were killed in the terrorist outrage last Friday in Paris. As the Prime Minister has already stated, the thoughts and prayers of every Fijian are with the families of the victims at this time, and with the 350 or so others who were wounded in these attacks, some of whom suffered horrific injuries. As Foreign Minister, I also wish to stress Fiji's solidarity with the French government and our absolute commitment to join governments everywhere in fighting the scourge of terrorism. The international community will not be cowed by these cowardly attacks. On the contrary, it has made us all the more determined to share down the terrorist threat. And Fiji will work with the rest of the international community to defeat the challenge, whatever the cost and however long it takes. Honourable Deputy Speaker, in relation to the 2016 budget, I wish to first acknowledge and thank the Honourable Minister of Finance and his team for an outstanding effort. As other speakers have noted, this is the people's budget, a budget for every Fijian. And it underlines the Fiji First government's commitment to improving the living standards of every citizen. We are building on the foundations that have been laid in the budgets of previous years, and that are now producing outstanding growth in our economy, 5.3% last year, better than our larger neighbours. We are empowering ordinary Fijians, giving them unprecedented opportunities. And Fiji is not only surging ahead at home, our standing in the rest of the world has never been higher. But, Honourable Deputy Speaker, the Fiji First government is not resting on its laurels. Our reform program continues in the 2016 budget to build a fairer and more simpler tax system to provide low-income earners and the disadvantaged with the assistance they deserve. It is about creating a fairer and more equal society, and we are also strengthening the performance of every arm of government, including our foreign policy. We are already respected in the world, but we intend to strengthen our presence on the international stage even further, to give Fiji a bigger voice on behalf of ourselves and our smaller island neighbours, and to assert our right to do so without undue influence from outside. A foreign policy by Fijians for Fijians, bringing our own perspective to the great issues of our time, whether it is climate change or the challenges of development. Madam Speaker, with the budget, we are reinforcing our ability to pursue a robust foreign policy based on the ongoing principle of being friends to all, enemies to none. This policy has been a resounding success. It has not only won us many friends and the respect of many nations, it is the only way forward for a small island developing state like ours. We refuse to be drawn into the power plays of others. We will work with all governments of goodwill, and we assert our right to be independent, to always act in the best interests of Fiji and the Fijian people. It is what they expect, and it is what we are doing and will continue to do. May I at this juncture, Honourable Deputy Speaker, thank all of our heads of missions and their staff for their tireless work to advance Fiji's interests at the different bilateral and multilateral forums. I also thank the staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Suva for their support in ensuring the efficient performance of our missions overseas. Honourable Deputy Speaker, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs budget allocation of $42.9 million for 2016, we expect to continue strengthening our bilateral and multilateral presence in international forums. Of particular note is our re-engagement with the Commonwealth of Nations. Our contribution to the Commonwealth Secretariat is $611,000 in 2016. While we continue our principled stand on the issue of membership of Australia and New Zealand in the Pacific Islands Forum, our contribution to the Forum Secretariat is $138,000 in 2016. Other contributions in 2016 will also be made to the G77 plus China, the International Seabed Authority, and other organizations. It is the price of our membership of the Community of Nations, and we gladly make it. Honorable Deputy Speaker, let me reiterate that we see the Pacific Islands Development Forum, or the PIDF, as complementary to the operations of the Pacific Islands Forum. Our contributions to it match our commitment to taking a leadership role in the region. And we deeply appreciate the assistance of other nations, notably China, which are working with Fiji to make the PIDF a success. A genuine voice of the Pacific, free from outside interference, that is also genuinely inclusive, a grand coalition of government, civil society organizations, and the private sector. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I also wish to acknowledge the contributions, particularly from the Republic of the Fiji Military Forces and personnel from the Ministry of Health, to alleviate the suffering of our neighbors in Vanuatu following the devastation wrought by Cyclone Pam in March of this year. All Fijians can be proud of the role of our people played in Vanuatu. This military and health personnel, along with other Fijian volunteers, were true ambassadors of our country. They were the first on the ground in the wake of the cyclone, helping the less fortunate and alleviating their suffering. Honorable Deputy Speaker, our commitment to the Melanesian Spearhead Group continues in the budget with a contribution of $1.1 million for the MSG Secretariat. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we will also continue our comprehensive effort next year to reach out to the world with a program of official visits. This year, the Honorable Prime Minister conducted visits to India and China to consolidate our economic and trade partnerships. In August, the Honorable Prime Minister led a Fijian delegation to attend the Forum for India-Pacific Islands Cooperation in Jaipur. Rising from this forum, Fiji has been promised 110 slots in the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation training program, and the number of slots for the other 13 Pacific countries will be doubled from 119 to 238. Fiji counts on the Indian government support for its green growth framework and principled stand on climate change, especially in the lead-up to the COP21 Climate Change Summit in Paris. It was also heartening to note the Chinese government's commitment to the joint feasibility study of the China-Fiji Free Trade Agreement during the Honorable Prime Minister's visit in July. Rising from these July talks, the Chinese government has committed itself to closer cooperation in the areas of trade, fisheries, and aviation. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this year we celebrated 40 years of formal diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China. China has been a firm friend and partner during some of our challenging times. And I wish to acknowledge China's support and look forward to its contribution and commitment to a greener future at the COP21 Climate Change Summit in Paris. Honorable Deputy Speaker, in June, Fiji hosted the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly in Suva. And in August, the PIDF Summit was also held in Suva, attended by the Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand. Budgetary allocations for multilateral forums like this help position Fiji on the global stage and are decisive in getting our voice heard. Both gatherings were a tremendous success and won us many new friends. Honorable Deputy Speaker, one of the core issues raised at the ACP-EU Assembly was small island states affected by climate change, with a particular focus on seas and oceans. Part of our ministry's strategy on this issue has included the appointment of Mr. Amena Yovoli as the new Ambassador-at-Large for Climate Change and Oceans. Mr. Yovoli was until recently Acting Secretary General of the Pacific Islands Development Forum. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we remain fully committed to the development of the PIDF with an allocation of in 2016 of $800,000. With the support of the Fijian government, the PIDF is expected to be granted observer status in the United Nations General Assembly in 2016. It has already received tacit recognition by the French government with an invitation to its Oceania Summit in Paris on the 26th of this month. I wish to also highlight the appointment of Mr. Francois Motal of Samoa as the PIDF's new Secretary General. Mr. Martel brings with him extensive experience from around the Pacific, in the private sector, and in civil society. He is an acknowledged champion of the small island states, especially in relation to the adverse effects of climate change. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I wish to acknowledge the Prime Minister's commitment to attending the COP21 meeting in Paris in the coming days. With his fellow island leaders, he will be leading the campaign for drastic reductions in carbon emissions on the part of the industrialized nations. To arrest the current rate of global warming that is causing the rising sea levels and extreme weather events that threaten our way of life. Honourable Deputy Speaker, the COP21 meeting will be a seminal point in our foreign policy, given the urgency of the matter at hand, the survival of some of our neighbours and the drastic threat to the lives of all Pacific Islanders and those in other low-lying areas of the world. We have no better voice than our Prime Minister to advocate for small island states and to tell the industrialized nations that enough is enough. Honourable Deputy Speaker, for the benefit of the House, allow me to paraphrase a few salient points from the Suva Declaration that was an outcome of the PIDF meeting. Among other things, we call for the 2015 Paris Climate Change Agreement to keep the global average temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. We also call for the Paris Climate Agreement to be legally binding and to establish explicit provisions that ensure the strongest possible effort is made to mitigate the effects of climate change. We want a review of mitigation efforts every 5 years with the opportunity to commit to stronger action if the current scientific predictions alter. We also call for a special provision in the Paris Agreement to fast-track urgent action to assist the most vulnerable countries that are already experiencing threats from climate change. Honourable Deputy Speaker, after a successful submission by the Fijian government, we are now able to access $31 million US or $67 million Fijian adaptation grant from the Green Climate Fund only last week. This fund will be used through the Asian Development Bank to refurbish the Suva water supply. The water system will be climate-proofed through a number of measures, including strengthening pipes to make them more resilient to flooding, and by providing an alternative source of water for the greater Suva area. The overall water network will also be strengthened. This marks a significant achievement for Fiji. Out of the 37 proposals that were initially submitted to the Green Climate Fund in July, Fiji's proposal is one of the 8 that finally made it to the board level. In fact, it is the first in the Pacific among the initial round of projects for the board's consideration. It will benefit around a third of the country's population who live in Suva. And it will mean that by 2025, 95% of the Fiji's population will enjoy safe drinking water. And 60% of the population will have proper sewerage facilities by 2030. I would like to congratulate our Ambassador Filimoni Kau of our Fiji Embassy in Seoul and the Ministry of Finance officials and the Asian Development Bank for their hard work in securing access to this funding. Honourable Deputy Speaker, there are particular overseas missions that will get special attention next year, as mentioned by the Honourable Minister of Finance. Just over $500,000 is allocated for the expansion of the Abu Dhabi Chancery. Since the opening of our mission there in 2012 by the Honourable Prime Minister, the strategic placement of our office in the United Arab Emirates has reaped large dividends. As I highlighted in last year's budget response, the Abu Dhabi-based office did a marvelous job in facilitating my negotiations with the Qatar Foreign Minister, Dr. Khalid, allowing the release of our 45 peacekeepers who were captured by the Al-Nusra group in the Golden Heights. More recently, the United Arab Emirates Foreign Minister, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed bin Al Nahyan, visited Fiji in February this year for bilateral discussions with the government. It was his second visit to Fiji since we established diplomatic relations with the United Arab Emirates in 2010. Boosting our budgetary allocation in 2016 to expand our services will mean consolidating and strengthening the benefits of this important relationship. This has included access to the UAE's $50 million Pacific Partnership Fund through the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development. These funds have enabled the implementation of clean energy projects in Kandawu, Lakemba, and Rotuma. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this is what our missions around the world strive for, to produce tangible benefits for all Fijians. Our robust foreign policy not only winning us friends and influence, but improving the lives of our people here in Fiji. In conclusion, Honorable Deputy Speaker, let me say that our heads of missions will be meeting in Suva next month as part of our regular updates for the ministry. The message to them will be clear. Make maximum use of the resource given to you to achieve optimal results. I'm proud of what we have achieved so far, and I'm sure that honorable members of this House on both sides appreciate the hard work they are doing to promote our interests. They are helping to promote trade, to take the Fijian-made brand to all parts of the world, and strengthen our national economic base. And they are giving all Fijians a voice in the world, a voice far louder than a country of our size would normally enjoy. So, Honorable Deputy Speaker, our spending on foreign affairs next year is also a part of this people's budget. Our national resources dedicated to producing the best possible return for the Fijian people. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I have great pleasure in commending and support the 2016 appropriation bill. Thank you.
Thank you. I thank you for your contribution, Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs.